Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach has been out for over 2 years by now. And yet, inside this originally inconsistent, buggy mess of a game, there's still mysteries we don't really know the answer to. And today, I'll be solving one of them, the mystery of Vanny and Vanessa. In this video, I'll be breaking down everything you need to know about Vanny and how one prominent FNAF theorist might be wrong about who this character or characters really are. Remember to like, subscribe, and watch until the end, because what I'll reveal today will likely change your view of Security Breach forever. Vanessa was first shown at the very end of Five Nights at Freddy's Help Wanted in its DLC, Curse of Dreadbear, where she seemingly communicates to Glitchtrap, who has taken over her mind. Quote, "Yes, I hear you. I know. No, there's no miscommunication. I understand. Yes, I have it. I made it myself. I think you would like it. No, no one suspects anything. Don't worry. I'll be ready and I won't let you down. It will be fun." We saw her again in the FNAF AR emails, but I like to consider those to be non-canon now that AR has been shut down. And then, Security Breach, where she appears as the security guard Vanessa and the evil Vanny. A character who had tons of build-up, hype, and mystery, got a total of 3 minutes of screen time in the finished product. Disappointment? Totally. Missed potential? No downing it. Mystery? Yes. And I want to solve it. You see, the division between Vanessa and Vanny was always dubious. The change seemed to happen too quickly. As well as that, in one of the endings of Security Breach, we literally see Vanessa looking over Vanny's body. So, if Vanessa and Vanny are supposed to be the same person, what the heck is going on here? Well, for the answer to that, we turn to ID's Fantasy, a prominent FNAF theorist who supposedly solved the Vanessa/Vanny mystery. In her first video, titled FNAF Theory, Is Vanessa Really Vanny?, she proposed that the Vanessa we see in Security Breach is a robotic version of the real Vanessa, who's going around following Glitchtrap's orders as Vanny. Lately, I've been opposed to robot people theories, even after the multiple videos I put out on the topic. It just doesn't seem to make much sense. But then you look at all the remnant possession stuff and that doesn't make sense either. This theory has excellent backup and proof. ID stands firmly by it to this day. To make it clear, I think this theory is amazingly made, but I wanted to throw my hypothetical hat in the ring and talk about it. Now, let's assume this theory is wrong. Let's assume that Vanessa and Vanny are one and the same, or that something darker and even more sinister is going on. Let's solve ID's Fantasy's Vanessa problem. The root of the problem itself rises from the segment of Security Breach where we first see Vanny. At 2 AM, right after Vanessa captures Gregory and puts him in Lost and Found, she's very abruptly replaced by Vanny. The Security Breach files literally say that Vanessa has been replaced. Vanny appears a few more times through the rest of the game, but apart from her very slow running and obnoxious repetition of the same voice line, "There you are, there you are, there you are, there you are," that's about it. The issue is made bigger by the VIP ending, the hardest Security Breach ending to get, where we literally see Vanessa and Vanny as two separate people, with one likely dead and the other very evidently alive, looking at Vanny's body. Initially, I dismissed this as a part of Gregory's imagination. In the Ruin DLC for Security Breach, we see every single ending from Security Breach except for one, Princess Quest, as an actual in-universe comic. Thus, this ending could easily be interpreted as Gregory not knowing that Vanessa and Vanny are the same person. But ID herself brought up a great point. Just because the endings appear to be drawn by Gregory, that doesn't mean the events of those endings didn't happen. We see a prime example of this at the very beginning of Ruin. We can catch a glimpse of the Blob, or Tangle as it is called in the game files, as we go down the stairway. This outright confirms that those comic pages have some shred of truth in them, but still leaves you questioning if Burntrap was ever real. Some say that Burntrap and the mimic Endo that we see in Bruin are the same, but this doesn't make much sense to me. At the end of the Burntrap ending, Afton is picked up by the Blob and disappears, that's true, but why would the Blob only take out Burntrap's skin and bones? As well as that, the mimic looks drastically different from Burntrap in many ways. Instead of being a corpse in the Springlock Endo, it's an amalgamation of different parts, with segments of Endo 01, 02, and others in it. So this mimic can't be Burntrap. So was Burntrap ever real? And if he was, what's the deal with Tangle? Well, I believe that Tangle is an amalgam of different agony-possessed objects from across the franchise. The remnant full animatronics from FNAF AR, bits and pieces from the FNAF 6 fire, etc, etc. The influence of all the agony and souls infused into it is so powerful that it's become a beast, acting purely on instinct. The reason Gregory draws Tangle is because he sees it when he goes down into the FFPS area with Vanessa. More on this later. As for Burn Trap, I can't really confirm he's real, but I also can't confirm he's not real. But what does all this have to do with Vanessa? Well, remember how I brought up that Princess Quest was the only security breach ending that didn't appear as a comic in Ruin? Well, there's more proof that this ending is actually the canonical one. Apart from being the 3-star ending, which was always the true or most difficult ending in every FNAF game, we see the Princess Quest free arcade cabinet of Ruin, with the princess's sword stabbed through it, implying that Vanessa has been freed from Glitch Trap. Let's go back to the statement I made earlier. The reason Gregory draws Tangle is because he sees it when he goes down into the FFPS area with Vanessa. What do I mean by this? Well, in Ruin, we see what looks like a backpack belonging to Gregory in the Mixes room, near the area where we face off with the Mimic. Gregory doesn't have this backpack with him in-game, so this means that this had to happen before or after the events of Security Breach. The Mimic is trapped behind a cement wall with a forklift nearby. Since Gregory probably isn't forklift certified and probably doesn't know how to seal up a wall, we can guess that he wasn't the one to seal the Mimic, or at least he wasn't the only one. Only an adult could have done something like this. The best candidate for such an adult would be Vanessa, who worked at the Pizzaplex and was freed by Gregory in Security Breach if the Princess Quest or Savior ending was canon. Thus, this likely occurs before Ruin and after Security Breach. Either Vanessa was the one who sealed up the wall, or she and Gregory found some other way to trap the Mimic in that sealed up room, which is more likely. In the epilogues of Tales from the Pizzaplex, we see two teens try a strategy where one of them crawls through vents, attracting the Mimic, while the other attempts to trap it in a closed-off room. The plan ultimately fails because they all die in those epilogues, but that doesn't mean it didn't work on the Mimic when Gregory and Vanessa tried. Gregory, who's small and agile, would go for the vents, and Vanessa would trap the Mimic. But why would they even do this? In my opinion, it's probably because of the Tangle itself. In the Tales epilogues, the pile of robotic and human parts the Mimic creates is referenced as a tangle multiple times. Quote, "Piled together in a macabre pyramid, a gruesome tangle of human limbs, torsos, and heads were rotting next to a snarl of ragged metal parts. At least 11 bodies were lumped together in pieces." Thus, it's possible that the tangle also includes human body parts, apart from robotic bits and pieces from different Fazbear establishments. We obviously don't see these body parts in Security Breaches that would bump up the age rating, which wasn't worth it for Steelwool. But it's still highly likely those body parts are in there somewhere. So if Gregory and Vanessa saw the tangle while in the Pizzaplex, or if Vanessa remembers it from when she was Vanny, they'd probably try to stop the Mimic before it caused more damage and created more agony-fueled entities like Tangle. All this to say that if these comic book pages have some truth in them, we can use ID's point to say that only some parts of the endings are accurate, as we see with Tangle. So maybe the part of the ending where Vanessa sees herself isn't relevant, but the Pizzaplex burning down or Freddy dying is. This isn't very strong evidence, however, so is there anything that I can say to definitively prove that Vanessa and Vanny are the same person? Well, friends, there is. First off, let's go over all the proof we have that Vanessa and Vanny are the same. The Character Encyclopedia and Security Breach files both seemingly confirm that Vanessa and Vanny are one and the same at some points, but to be honest, I'm not inclined to lean upon these books as my main source of evidence. We also never really see the two at different places at the same time. The quick transition from Vanessa to Vanny at 2 AM could just be a game design choice. It's not like it would be engaging for the player to sit and wait a minute or two as Vanessa changes costume. The only pointer to Vanessa and Vanny being different that feels important is the rooftop ending. Why the heck do we see two Vanessas at the same time? Well, for the answer to that, we turn to real-life issues similar to those Vanessa might be suffering. In mental illnesses such as DID, dissociative identity disorder, the victim develops multiple personalities that they can swap to at any time, regardless of time, location, and mood. This could certainly be the case with Vanessa. The glitch trap code controlling her brain has caused her to be unsure of who she really is, resulting in her mind essentially splitting apart. This explains the division between Vanessa and Vanny in this ending. The real Vanessa is confused by how twisted she has become. This could also be a modern critique of how we communicate. The way we act online and the way we do in real life is very different. So it's entirely possible that Vanessa is an allegory for how different we are online and offline, although I hope none of you turn into murderous dancing rabbit ladies when you use the internet. This could be why Vanessa turns into Vanny so quickly. This is a dark and not literal at all way of warning us about the dangers of not being true to yourself, and how rapidly we can be changed. That is one possibility, but I also want to discuss another one more grounded in the game's actual lore. In the Tales from the Pizzaplex stories B7 and B7-2, we see a boy called Billy who thinks he's an animatronic renaming himself B7, but eventually coming to terms with his humanity after the multiple life-changing surgeries he's performed to play into his illusion. He does this by jumping into an activated trash compactor. This implies that he of course unalived himself, but that's not actually the case. In the follow-up story, B7-2, we see that Billy miraculously survived due to dumb luck and went on to make a near full recovery. However, the robotic parts of him, which were surgically removed from the real Billy, aren't ready to let go yet, and try to reunite with him. This could be what happens with Vanessa and Vanny. There are two separate consciousnesses trapped in one body, and when they separate, Vanny, the parallel to B7, is often weak, or at least not as strong as she was with Vanny. This explains why we see Vanny separated from Vanessa in Help 1 and 2. She's become a separate entity, a digital embodiment of the glitch virus in Vanessa, if you will. This also explains the quick transitions between the two and the imagery of Vanny and Vanessa as two distinct beings. They are technically separate entities sharing a human shell, similarly to some kind of parasitic relationship. So those are my thoughts on the Vanessa/Vanny duality. While it's certainly possible that ID's Fantasy's theory is correct, this is what I think could be the case. Thanks for watching, I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please like and subscribe for more Five Nights at Freddy's theory content. I also try to do weekly FNAF streams, so be sure to check those out as well. Thanks to ID's Fantasy for giving me permission to talk about her theory. I greatly enjoyed thinking about it and discussing it. As always, remember, never stop overthinking.